Let's get our eyes here on this match. Franklin Fulks is on your left with red-black mid-range. Oliver 2 on your right with white-black knights. Keep in mind, this team of Walker, Donegan, and 2, they have won a Team Constructed Open before late last year in Baltimore. So, we'll give these players a green light. We'll be underway here. You see Dylan Donegan very wide awake this morning with his yawns. Come on, Dylan.
No, they're okay. The kids are all right at this hour.
All right. Away we go. It's a Soul Scar Mage off of a beautiful mountain. Isolated Chapel is where Oliver will start. You okay?
Oh.
You okay?
I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but I would not be able to register that land in the tournament.
Here's a Heart of Kieran for Franklin Fulks.
Whoo!
The follow-up here, that'll be a knight. I believe that's a Knight of Malice. I want to make sure I get that correct. That is Knight of Malice, the white one, of course, being Knight of Grace. Oliver 2 ready to block. Let's see what we have here. It'll be in a braid to take care of that. Soul Scar Mage will come across here for 2. One, of course, from the prowess, and one from its original base power. Where I head back over to Oliver 2 now. He'll draw a card. A Johnny, Adversary of Tyrants, was the draw. Not sure if he has the third land or not. You see he's got a copy of History of Benalia. What do you think about that card?
Sweet design.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the sagas, just design-wise, that go first mode, second mode is the same as the first, third thing.
Okay.
I think the stories are better when it's ABC, and I don't like the designs that are AAB.
Okay.
But that card's like totally fine, and and it's not like it's unique to that design that it goes AAB. It's all over the place with the sagas.
Now, you saw Oliver on his turn. He cycled a cast out, missed his land drop. However, now he's drawn a copy of Concealed Courtyard. Fortunately for him, that's going to enter the battlefield untapped. Here's History of Benalia. Chapter 1 going to give him a 2/2 knight. Yeah, I'd slide right by those goblin tokens, trust me.
He was hoping they were double-faced.
Yeah. We will get Oliver a 2/2 Vigilant Knight here in just a moment. For Franklin, he also missed his land drop. You saw him a braid to take care of that Knight of Malice, get in for 2 points of damage, and now Heart of Kieran still not able to be turned on. So now we're going to see Franklin draw a card. Has he found land number 3? No, he found Heart of Kieran number 2. Yikes. Boy, I see a face-down token there. Someone might have to lose their job here in just a moment. This could get ugly.
Oh, my God. I've never seen this.
We might lose a couple of employees here on the SCG Tour staff with these tokens.
We have the most esoteric tokens at all times.
I know. Now, this is great advertising for our invitation or qualifiers and organized play programs. However, we would like to see some knights. Speaking of which, there is a knight in Knight of Malice.
And now 2 very well set up next turn for his Saga to go up to 3. Hit for a ton. We know his hand's all spells. And Fulks not up to a whole lot.
Oliver will draw a card. Chapter 3. The saga is complete. Those knights have just gotten much larger. There we go. There we go. In for a whole bunch of damage.
Yeah, this is 12, I believe.
That is correct. Those knights will get +2/+1 once History of Benalia goes off. So a lot of damage dealt there by Oliver. What's our follow-up here for Mr. 2? Looks like it'll be Walking Ballista for 1. Simply pass the turn back. Franklin Fulks, you need to draw a land, my friend. That's a scrap. Ugh. Yep, Scrap Heap Scrounger. We're all set. We're all done. Scrap Heap Scrounger could have come down to turn on Heart of Kieran to do a little bit of blocking, but not sure that would have been enough in that instance. So, Oliver 2 is going to win game number 1 here over Franklin Fulks. As you see, White-Black Knights up a game very quickly over Red-Black mid-range. You see Oliver already going to his sideboard. We'll get the photos there of our players and then our sideboard in just a moment. There we do see them getting ready to sideboard. And we'll be going to the sideboard in just a moment here. But pretty one-sided affair there between the 2 players. Obviously some land issues there, but I think White-Black Knights might actually just be in a good spot in this matchup. It's got a lot of creatures that matter.
Yeah, History of Benalia seems like a very solid card for this kind of matchup. You have... You know, the game plan for the decks like this is you have removal spells that take care of whatever their top end is, and what you have on the bottom is more powerful than theirs.
Yeah.
And we didn't really get to see that emerge very much in that game because Fulks never got off the ground, but Fulks is a little bit fast to the battlefield. He's more likely to be able to play 2 spells in 1 turn early on in the game. That's his advantages. But the other side of it is 2 cards are just better. More capable of generating card advantage, more capable of being the best thing on the table or being able to attack whatever the best thing that Fulks has.
Well, let's take a look at Fulks' sideboard. Outside of having to draw some more lands, as he was unable to do that in that first game, he does have some options available to him, like 3 copies of Duress, 2 copies of Grath, the Flame Chained, 2 Chandra's Defeat, 2 Vraska's Contempt, an Arguel's Bloodfast, a Cut Ribbons, an Aethersphere Harvester, a Doomfall, the Eldest Reborn, and a Siege Gang Commander.
Love the Siege Gang in this matchup. Seems very well set up for this sort of thing.
Yep.
It's outside of Fatal Push range, and then if you want to tap with the Siege Gang Commander, that's better than History of Benalia, for example. I think the Angrath is well set up for this matchup, too, with Oliver being on so many small creatures. And I would bring in, I'd bring in the Cut to Ribbons as well, maybe the Bloodfast. Just some more removal, some cards that are better set up for grindy games.
On Oliver's side, we see 3 Duress, 2 Arguel's Bloodfast of his own, 2 Profane Procession, 2 Kitesail Freebooter, 2 Settle the Wreckage of Doomfall, a Karn, Sign of Urza, an Angel of Sanctions, and a copy of Forsake the Worldly.
The question here is 2 just assuming that Fulks is all on bigger cards. If you think that's the case, then I think bringing in cards like Karn, Settle the Wreckage, and Profane Procession make a lot of sense. If you think he's keeping things low to the ground, stay away from the expensive cards, maybe bring in the Duresses. But I imagine the anticipation here is Fulks is going a little bit bigger, and 2 will as well.
Well, those are the sideboard options there for both of our players. And they're almost ready here for game number 2. But before we go to that game, we want to tell you about our StarCityGames.com YouTube page, where we've got a whole bunch of stuff up there, my friend, including the Versus series with Todd Anderson, Ross Merriam, Todd Stevens, and Brad Nelson. You got Commander Versus with Justin Parnell, Jeremy Knoll, Jonathan Suarez, and the American Dream,
Stephen Green.
Flashback, a brand new series that appears many of you enjoyed. So we're very happy to hear that. Our debut episode with Todd Anderson is now on YouTube. We've got many more of those coming down the pipeline. Best of the SCG Tour and a whole bunch more. Subscribe today over at youtube.com/StarCityGames. Become one of over 130,000 subscribers to our YouTube page. Thank you to each and every single one of you. You'll be able to find the archives of this tournament and the archives of this match as we get ready here for game number 2 between Franklin Fulks and Oliver 2. It looks like as though Oliver 2 may be taking a mulligan here as he's looking at, I believe, 6 cards now at this stage. And I'll update you on the scoreboard here very quickly as well. Tom Medvec. I wonder how he got Dylan with the Goryo's Asphalt deck. Was it Kiki Jiki, Deceiver Exarch, or was it something else? Who knows? But he got game number 1 done.
It was over fast.
Yes, it was. Canyon Slough and Isolated Chapel is how things do begin. As Oliver 2, I can now confirm, did mulligan to 6. For Fulks, there's land number 2, Dragon Skull Summon, but no play. So likely a removal spell at the ready for something here of 2s. This will be a Plains for Oliver. Oliver does have a Knight of Grace. And he's just going to play Knight of Malice instead. No removal spell there from Franklin Fulks, so we head back over to Franklin for his 3rd turn of the game. He's got to have something going on here, I imagine. There's a hub. Get himself an energy, and now there is the Chain Whirler. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Nice.
Didn't kill anything. But did deal Oliver a point of damage, so Oliver's going to fall down to 19. The follow-up is a Knight, and here's an attack for 3. Both these creatures do have first strike, so they could trade. These Knights do work together well in tandem, pumping each other. And they will trade. Both creatures, of course, with first strike. So now we're going to head back over to Fulks. Fulks with land number 4. That'll be a mountain. Chandra seems like a pretty darn good play this turn.
Chandra minus. Or plus, I guess, if you want to play Magma Spray this turn and try to get to an emblem as fast as possible.
Sure. But everything revolves around the Planeswalker.
Yeah, it's definitely Chandra.
Yep, plus, spray, pass the turn back. Fulks in good position right now. Go back over to Oliver. Remember, he did take a mulligan to 6. He'll play a land there. On the battlefield tapped, unfortunately for him. Looks like it may have been a copy of Forsaken Sanctuary. And it is. It's just a 1 of in his white-black deck. Not a timely time for it. Chandra will plus, reveal Spire of Industry. Oliver will take 2 from that. Going to fall down to 17. Any big follow-ups here? Folks looking at a copy of the Eldest Reborn in hand, but he's just going to pass the turn back. We'll go back over to Oliver 2. There's a hub. A little bit of energy here for our Knights player. And now there's History of Benalia, a game-winning card in game number 1. It's got a lot of catching up to do here in game number 2, as a 2/2 Vigilance Knight has been made there for Oliver 2. This appears to be in a braid. And now we head back over to Franklin Fulks. He'll draw a card. Chandra looking to run away with this one pretty quickly. Going to plus it up to 7. Reveal the top card. That's a walking ballista.
That'll play here.
That'll be a 3/3 walking ballista. Got to be a tough card for Knights to beat. Well, Fatal Push will take care of that. 3 damage will go upstairs. So it looks like 2 does have an answer, fortunately for him. Oliver, I believe, should fall down to 14 from that. So now we'll head back over to Oliver. He'll be drawing a card here in just a moment, which means Chapter 2 of the History of Benalia will resolve. Another Knight token here in just a moment. 5 mana. Angel of Sanctions is real timely.
Yep. Had to be right there.
Yes, it did. That's going to take care of Chandra, and Oliver, too, is back in this game now as we head back over to Franklin Fulks. Karn, Scion of Urza in Franklin's hand now.
Can't play it just yet because the History of Benalia goes off to Chapter 3 next turn, and Karn would just simply die.
Here is the Eldest Reborn. Chapter 1 of that causes Oliver to sacrifice a creature. Unsurprisingly, will sacrifice the Knight token as opposed to the Angel of Sanctions. The History of Benalia will go off after Oliver draws a card. So Chapter 3 has been read. Here comes an attack. I'm curious to see how 2 does follow up here. He's starting to really come back, get some momentum in this game. This will be a Resplendent Angel. That's a new one from Core Set 2019. Curious if we can get our eyes on that.
3/3 flyer for 5.
3/3 flyer for 3.
For 3, excuse me. For the activated power is
Yes,
5.
yes. Fatal Push. Looks like that will bite the dust here. And you see Franklin taking a look at Resplendent Angel. So, of course, we'll be doing the same again from Core Set 2019. A new one. Not sure how good this card is just yet.
The upside's really high. It is a thing that needs a turn and just dies a lot to removal spells, et cetera, but...
You see the 6-mana ability, 3 white, until end of turn, Resplendent Angel gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink. However, a cut to ribbons will take care of the Angel of Sanctions, and now Chandra will tick down to take care of the Resplendent Angel. So we don't get to see anything awesome with the Resplendent Angel there. Now we're seeing Karn, too. This has ended up to be a pretty good turn here for Franklin Fulks. And Franklin says, you will be giving me a Glorybringer a little bit later. For now, I'll take my Dragon Skull Summon.
A fine turn for Fulks.
Here is Angel of Sanctions. That's going to come back. It's going to take care of Karn, which means that the Glorybringer not going to come back right away. Now, it still does have that silver counter on it.
Right, and 2 has to get the Karn off the battlefield because if Fulks can get the Glorybringer back the next turn, then the Angel of Sanctions isn't worth very much.
Chapter 3, the Eldest Reborn is going to reanimate something. And the question is, what's it going to be? Looks like it'll be the Chain Whirler. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Haven't caught a lot of standard matches recently, so I got some Chain Whirler noises here in the tank.
Yeah, I'm out of the loop of what's the cool thing to do, noise-wise.
So I think it's just kind of a wish. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm into right now. I have to check in with Owen T, who he refers to himself as the Chain Whirler.
Okay.
Well, he's not wrong. He's done a lot of winning with the card. We're going to see Pia Nalar come down. Thopter token, engage. A little bit of out-of-order sequencing, maybe.
I think you're just supposed to open up with Chandra.
Yeah. Because if he were to reveal something like this.
Well, okay.
Well, now he's got to decide between casting Rekindling Phoenix or Unlicensed Disintegration. So would have liked to see a little bit of different sequencing, or maybe just cast the Rekindling Phoenix there. Instead, Unlicensed Disintegration is going to take care of the Angel of Sanctions, deal 3, get Karn back.
Yeah, I don't mind burning through the Phoenix here if you're getting your card through Karn anyway and dealing some damage. Setting up lethal for next turn. It's whatever. Sequencing was a little bit sloppy, but doesn't matter.
Chain Whirler can't attack just yet. Came back from the Eldest Reborn, so that thing still got Summoning Sickness. Not that I think it's going to matter too much because I think Oliver 2 might be all done this game, and he is. So, Franklin Fulks going to tie things up here against Oliver 2. Red-Black mid-range and White-Black Knights. They're going to get ready for a third game here. But let's update you on the scoreboard real quick. Go to the top shelf where our legacy matchup is. Mark Torlone has won game number 1 here over Noah Walker. Of course, that's Jeskai Stoneblade up a game here over Grixis Delver. You see the middle match, Tom Medvec with that Goryo's As for Told deck. Hopefully we'll have some time to jump over there. He's up a game right now over Dylan Donegan. And in our match that we're focusing on here for standard, Red-Black mid-range, White-Black Knights, they're all tied up as they're getting right here for game number 3. So we'll take a look at the sideboard here once again, as these players do definitely have some options. And you see Franklin Fulks is actually going back to the drawing board. Oliver 2 is as well. I'm going to start with Oliver again. Quick little rundown here. Those Duresses, the Arguel's Bloodfast, 3 and 2 of each of those cards. Along with Profane, Procession, Kitesail, Freebooter, Settle the Wreckage, all its 2 ofs, a Doomfall, Karn, an Angel of Sanctions, and a Forsake the Worldly. We saw Angel of Sanctions. You felt like Procession might come in because you feel as though Fulks might slow some things down?
Yeah, but I'm off it now. I think Fulks has shown so many Planeswalkers that that has to be the battle. First of all, his creatures aren't that important, and then Procession gets a lot worse. Second, I think that 2 needs to devote as much as he can to keeping a presence on the battlefield and being able to attack down Planeswalkers, because partially because he was mulligan, partially because he was slow out of the gates, he just wasn't able to effectively pressure Fulks' Planeswalkers, and those ultimately buried him.
On the other side of things there for Franklin Fulks, you know he's taking a more controlling approach, as these red-black decks oftentimes do. So you see Duress, you see Arngrath, 3 copies of Duress, 2 of that red-black Planeswalker that we haven't seen much of during its standard lifespan. 2 Chandra's Defeat, 2 Vraska's Contempt. That Eldest Reborn we saw, CGN Commander I imagine is in the deck too. Then you got Arguel's Bloodfast, Cut to Ribbons, which we saw, Harvester, and Doomfall. So a lot of options there.
Yeah, and I think Fulks' position in the matchup is pretty clear. A lot of removal spells and a lot of Planeswalkers.
Yeah, oftentimes it's kind of interesting, right? You see these red-black mid-range decks, you know they're going to sideboard into a slower deck with a lot of Planeswalkers and removal, but there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Well, also, Fulks' deck in Game 1, remember what his draw was. He went turn 1, Soulscar Magus, turn 2, Heart of Kirin, cast an Abrade, and died.
Yep.
That's all he showed. That just looks like a mono red deck, or a red deck with maybe a little bit of black. This is a very different list. It's much bigger, much more artifact-centric, a lot more Planeswalkers, multiple copies of Karn in the main deck. And so even if 2 had an understanding that, yeah, Fulks is going to get a little bit bigger after sideboard and whatever, probably didn't quite understand exactly how big Fulks' deck was to begin with and exactly how slow and grindy Fulks intended to play the post-board games.
These players take a look at their opening hands. Oliver 2, no thank you. He's going to go into 6 very quickly here. You see our modern match is all tied up, so we'll see if Franklin Fulks is going to keep his hand or not. Looks like Dylan Donegan is happy with his configuration in the middle there, so he's already shuffling up for game number 3. Death's Shadow of the Grixis variety. Going to be going against Goryo's As Foretold here in a moment. I think a pretty good matchup there for Dylan. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about playing with fire. We got playmat sleeves and player bundles, man.
Yep. Go.thursdaygames.com/creature collection. Available now. Playmat sleeves, player bundles.
That and all of our creature collection stuff. We got some fun stuff coming down the pipeline. I'm saving game night for next round.
Cool.
Some new ones coming for you.
Cool.
Which I know you don't even know. You don't even know what they are.
I do not.
I know that.
I do not.
All right, getting ready here. Take a look. See if Oliver 2 is happy with the 6. Looks like he is. So we'll give him the green light. We are ready to rock and roll. Oliver 2 going to start off with your favorite. Ooh. It's even worse than Isolated Chapel. It's the Sanctuary. Those remind me of the days of Prairie Stream. Prairie Stream never entered the battlefield untapped. That'll be a Magma Spray to take care of the Knights. Soulscar Mage will come in for 2. So we head back over to Oliver 2. A Plains and History of Benalia. So a pretty good curve out draw here. There's a 2-2. The question you have to ask yourself when you're playing a deck like White-Black Knights is this deck power level-wise, is the power level high enough for what he's doing?
Well, you're trying to beat the control decks by having a good clock and a lot of staying power against sweepers, and you're trying to be good against creature decks by getting underneath of them and having removal of the spells that can take care of everything. But yeah, He's playing with some objectively low-power cards. It's part of what comes along with it.
Pia and Kieran Nallar. Excuse me, just Pia Nallar, not Pia and Kieran. Pia Nallar along with a Thopter going to enter the battlefield here. Another chapter has been read there on the history of Benalia. So another 2/2 Vigilance Knight will join the fray. And Oliver, too, looks like he's going to attack with the first one. Though giving it some serious consideration before sending it into the red zone.
Well, if he trades off with anything here, then the following turn he loses a little bit of push with the third chapter of History of Benalia, and it sets up Fulks very well to play a Planeswalker next turn.
Doomfall. Curious as to what mode? Well, we've just seen.
Yeah, well, the Edict's not very good here, and he's got to cover himself against a Planeswalker in the next turn. He's not in a position to attack Karn effectively or Chandra, so 2 has to put a high premium on getting it out of the hand if he can.
Well, Fulks, he lost the Scrap Heap Scrounger for good. Remember, Doomfall does exile, but the rest of his hand is just land, so I'm going to need some action here, but a lot of powerful top decks available for Franklin.
Oh, yeah, he's drawing the Planeswalkers, Glorybringer. Not that Glorybringer's good the next turn, but he's got a lot of really good draws.
Looks like Cut to Ribbons was the draw there for Franklin Fulks. Curious if he's got interest in using that this turn to make History of Benalia once Chapter 3 is read a little bit worse.
Well, I mean, he can go ahead and cut to Ribbons here and attack for 6 with a Thopter Pump.
Yeah.
And 2's already at 18, and you have a flyer that can still hit the following turns. You have a Ribbons in your graveyard now.
We can do a little bit of racing.
Yeah. And if 2 wants to trade off the Knight with the Pia, then Chapter 3 of History of Benalia doesn't matter.
Yeah, very true.
You're out of the woods that way.
Well, it looks like Franklin Fulks agrees with you. He's coming in with everybody. As you mentioned, Pia does have the ability to pump the Thopter. And we already know Franklin doesn't have much going on in his hand. Now, he might have some interest in leaving that mana up to be able to cycle the Canyon Slew in hand, but past that, there's really nothing going on. And now Oliver's got to give some serious consideration to blocking.
Looks like no blocks. What's interesting about blocking here from 2's perspective is it is an opportunity to get Pia Nallar off the battlefield. Now, what's the plan? If you're not willing to block here, what's the plan? And, okay, so Fatal Push answers that.
Okay.
I was going to say, what's the plan to answer Thopter plus Pia? Because you can't take all these hits if he's got Ribbons in the graveyard. You've got to stabilize the game here.
Hey, you don't see the Ribbons half of Cut to Ribbons all that often, but when that thing's in the graveyard looming, it has the ability to deal 4, 5, 6 points of damage depending on how the game goes.
Right.
Chapter 3 has been read, and for 4 comes Oliver 2. The follow-up is a land, and now this is a Resplendent Angel. So, cycle the Canyon Slew is what Franklin Fulks will do, and draw a card. Looks like he picked up another land. Needs a spell now. Resplendent Angel is the best thing going on the battlefield. Draw a card. Looks like it may have been another land. It was either that or a Promo Braid. But I haven't seen a Resplendent Angel die just yet, so I think that may have been a land, my friends.
We're going to find out.
We certainly are. Okay. All right, Promo Braid it is. That'll take care of Resplendent Angel. Here come the beatdowns. Keep in mind that Soul Scar Mage is a 2/3 because of that prowess trigger. Now we head back over to Oliver 2. He needs action. He'll come in for 2. Both these players essentially playing off the top of their deck now. Oliver 2 did not find anything helpful. So we head back over to Franklin Fulks. A lot of big draws available here for Franklin. Just an attack here for 1. What's the follow-up going to be? It's going to be a Scrap Heap Scrounger. Land, pass a turn back. Over to Oliver 2 we go. He needs some action. Doesn't appear as though he found any.
And it has to be fast because, remember, Ribbons is in the graveyard.
Yep.
So he has less time than it appears.
There's an attack for 2. Keep you updated on all of our matches. You can see the scoreboard. 1s across the board as Noah Walker tie things up with Mark Torlone. Grixis Delver, Jeskai Stoneblade going to game number 3. If Near Deadlands will take care of that Thopter token. And we head back over to Franklin. You got to keep in mind, Franklin's got a lot of huge draws here. Rekindling Phoenix, Chandra, Torch of Defiance.
I mean, any spell.
Yeah, they're all good in the red deck. Red's so powerful. Scrap Heap Chandra's going to come across here for 3-2. Looks like he's going to take it. Here's a Heart of Kieran. Not the best of draws there for Franklin Fulks, so we head back over to Oliver 2. What can Oliver find?
I mean, that looked like a spot there for Fulks to and never mind. I guess it's the same either way.
What'd you want to have happen? What were you thinking?
Pre-combat.
Oh, okay.
Prowess and
an attack with both. Yeah, sure.
I mean, getting another hit in when you have ribbons in the graveyard is a pretty big deal.
Here is it. Crew. And Bashu. No removal spell here for 2. There's a land. I think we're going to ribbons now. Yep. He's going to need double black for that. There we are. But this is a ribbons for 5. I think we're just dead now. Yes, we are. Fulks going to win this game and match over Oliver 2. Red-black mid-range is going to take care of white-black knights. And you mentioned it right at the start. Cut will take care of a creature. Ribbons will take care of the rest.
Right. Yep. And that was a weird game there, too, in that Fulks won the second game by really grinding down with a bunch of planeswalkers. And that was an oddly damage racy sort of game. And Cut to Ribbons was excellent there as both a removal spell and a fireball at the end.
So Fulks is going to win a match for his team. And it looks like Dylan Donegan may have won his match for his team, though I'm not sure. We'll get an update here for you. And assuming these players are still playing, that means we're going to be going up to the top shelf. Watch Mark Torlone against Noah Walker. It's Jeskai Stoneblade against Grixis Delver. And as you know, my friend, Noah Walker with Grixis Delver, oh boy.
Yes.
Now this
a
isn't
blow to this deck insofar as Deathrite Shaman, Gitaxian Prober Band, but the people who love to do this sort of thing, the Noah Walkers, the Jonathan Sukenics, have not been dissuaded.
Yes. I could not agree with you more. So we're going to get that match set up here for you folks in just a moment as, again, you see players de-sideboarding, all that jazz, which means it looks like I think that top match is the only one left that matters. I believe that Dylan won based off of their body language. So let's take a look at this Jeskai Stoneblade list. I think you have that in front of you?
I do. It's just blue-white. Just blue-white.
It's just blue-white? Okay. Oh, I see a couple volcanics.
Oh, no, you're right. Excuse me.
Yeah, so that's probably just for like some stuff in the sideboard.
I'm guessing some Red Blast, Blood Moons and Red Blasts.
Counterflux?
Wear Tear.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we see that a lot in Legacy, right? Kind of the Joe Lissette stuff from a bunch of years ago. All the red cards are in the sideboard, but you can kind of sort of free roll volcanics in your main deck.
I mean, it's never free in a format with Wasteland, but it's low enough cost. The red cards are very good post-board. A lot of basics, and if you Blood Moon, then you have 6 islands and 2 planes to play with, and your non-basics become mountains anyway. So
Noah Walker's made a little update here. Now, naturally, for those that know Grixis Delver and Legacy, you lost Deathrite Shaman, you lost Gitaxian Probe. So what has he gone towards for his one drop of choice? Bomat Courier.
I have seen a little bit of this pickup in Legacy.
Okay. So I remember Zan Saeed rocking this in blue-red Delver a little bit. And now Noah Walker, now he's not just playing Bomat Courier like 1 or 2, like Sukenik was doing Grimlavamancer. He's playing 4 of this thing.
Yeah. So that puts an incentive to be as cheap as possible. I'm even surprised by 1 copy of True Name Nemesis just because I would want to be as cheap as possible. I think Noah wisely playing with 0 copies of Fire Ice, unlike some competitors we had on camera earlier.
Yes.
But yeah, this is all about doing things for 0 and 1 mana. And I think that's the way you want to build the deck alongside Bomat Courier.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree with you, my friend. So these players are going to lay out their opening hands, and we'll see if they are happy. You see, the team of Walker, Donegan, too, they are flanking Noah, who, in my opinion, probably doesn't need the help. But if you've got good teamwork, doesn't hurt.
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah, might as well use those resources.
Torlone, much more on an island. Okay,
there we go.
Here we go.
There we go, Franklin. Get in there. All right, let's zoom in under the. Actually, Noah's going to send it back, so we don't zoom in just yet to the match. Not just yet. As these players will continue to wait just a moment as Noah Walker will take a look at 6 cards. The team of Walker, Donegan, and 2, very accomplished. Already have a team constructed win in Baltimore late last year. Looking to win another one if they can. Noah Walker will be taking a look at 6 cards here in just a moment. But while they shuffle up and get ready here for that 3rd and final game to decide this match, let's talk that weekly sale one more time for those of you just joining us. So you can save a bunch of money on playmats and sealed products.
For a limited time remaining.
There he is.
As Monday, 11 o'clock Eastern Time, new sale goes up with new categories. So if you're interested in saving up to 50% off playmats and sealed products, head over to go.sartegames.com/weekly sale.
50%!
That is approximately half of the purchase price.
That is a lot.
It's a lot.
That is a lot. All right, here we go. Game 3 underway. Let's zoom it in. Bobo. Given beats, trigger. Not just for standard anymore.
Is this on your bingo board?
Bomat Courier and Legacy?
Yeah.
No. No, it is not.
Bomat Courier cast off of Underground Sea.
I didn't think Nick would be that mean to me. Let's see what Mark is up to here for his second turn. Bomat Courier is such an interesting card, too, because you're just like, it's just a 1-1. And do I really need to swords this thing? The answer is probably yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walker is going to have some issue keeping up if the game goes on for a long time. Just because Stoneforge, Mystic, and Torlone having generally better cards. One of the ways to keep up is just draw a bunch of extras.
And Swords of Plowshares is going to put a stop to that. Goodbye, Bomat Courier. I like the timing of it right now, too, while Walker's tapped out. Don't have to worry about something like a Spell Piercer or a Flusterstorm. None of that stuff. Just cleanly get it off of the battlefield as Walker's going to play a Polluted Delta. Now he's going to play a copy of Thoughtseize. Wants to get a good look at Mark's hand. And perhaps we'll see Mark fire off a Spell Pierce here.
Yeah, options are Brainstorm or Spell Pierce. I like trying to cash in a Spell Pierce here. Spell Pierce has a much tighter window of being good than Brainstorm. So now would be a good time. Alternatively, he can just let it resolve if he doesn't want to play into Daze. I think that's okay, too.
I don't hate letting it resolve. You don't have to play back at your opponent.
I would not cast Brainstorm. Stan's got too many spells in it anyway, and this seems just like a very good window for Spell Piercer if you're going to cast anything at all.
Yeah, I like Spell Piercer nothing. I'm with you. Especially he's got 2 copies of Brainstorm in hand.
Yeah.
Too. So here's Spell Pierce. Let's see if this resolves. Oh, you see a Walker. He must have something in his hand, and now he's consulting. So something's up. Again, few players know this deck better than Noah Walker, who's got multiple open wins with Grixis Delver, a team win where he played 4-color Leovold and not Grixis Delver. I was actually a little surprised when he played 4-color Leovold. But we might see Noah Walker fight back here in just a moment.
Yeah, I mean, if he's fetching, he's fighting.
And there's Flusterstorm. So there you go. So Walker putting a priority on resolving this Thoughtseize. Of course, he's going to lose a little bit of life to do so. I believe this is going to bring him down to 17 total. 1 from the fetch and 2 from the Thoughtseize. You see the hand here from Mark. 2 Brainstorms.
An island.
I believe a Snapcaster Mage is that other card. Walker should be at 17. Confirm with your judge. 2 from Thoughtseize, 1 from the fetch line. There is an island. And ooh.
Not a bad draw step.
True name Nemesis. True Nemesis does come on down. And that's going to change the game in a big way. Now, Young Pyromancer is a way to maybe potentially keep up.
Oh, don't have the Volcanic if you got Blood Moons in your deck.
Yeah.
So you could KO Walker right here if you
this
resolve a Blood Moon.
Yeah, this game could just end right away.
I don't know if he's got a Blood Moon or not.
Sure,
I would
sure.
imagine they're in, but
Yeah, it's so good in this matchup. But here is Brainstorm from Mark. 2 cards going to be going back here in just a moment. Walker's life total 18 right now. Took 3 damage total. 2 from the Thoughtseize, 1 from the fetch, but then gained a life back from the Swords of Plowshares on the Bomat Courier. There you go, those 2 cards there from Mark. There's an island. This is a Stoneforge Mystic. That'll give you the shuffle for the Brainstorm that you're looking for. Stoneforge going to resolve. We'll see if it's going to be Jite or Batterskull. Either one's good, though.
I think you get Jite here because if your Stoneforge dies, you still just put Jite on True Name Nemesis, and that's good too.
Well, there is Umezawa Jite.
If
Here's
you
an attack for 3.
If you get Batterskull, you're kind of leveraged because if your Stoneforge dies, then you might have a blank card in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard for Jite to get blanked here. And it happens to be especially good against Young Pyromancer as an added bonus.
All good points, partner. We'll be heading back to Noah Walker in just a moment. He'll untap those 2 lands. He'll draw a card. He's in some serious trouble right now, though.
I mean, this is pass-fail. If you can't break this up, the game's over.
Yep.
Find out in a moment. But now with Torlone having Stoneforge Mystic on the battlefield to cushion him against an Edict effect, it's asking a lot. Okay, this is something.
Thoughtseize is a good place to start. Elemental token here. This will be a Brainstorm in response, and Walker doesn't waste any time playing Magic. I'll tell you what. He knew that Brainstorm was probably coming, and he says, I'll Power Blast that. I'll come in here for 2. You want to trade? Awesome. Super happy with that. This means my Edicts are back on.
Yep. That trade is really curious otherwise.
Yeah. You got to keep in mind, Mark's hand is empty. The Thoughtseize took the GT. The Pyroblast took care of the Brainstorm.
And that attack is really curious there, too. I guess the Stoneforge Mystic is good against the 1/1, so Walker has some incentive to offer it up.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, Torlone is definitely exposed to Diabolic Edict if it happens to be in Walker's list somewhere. 2 in the sideboard.
Yep. You got to imagine they're in the deck. Let's see what we have here. Looks like a Delver. All right, let's go back over to Mark. I think he may have drawn a copy of Blue Elemental Blast, maybe?
Counterspell, I think.
Okay.
And now with Walker having a Delver of Secrets, Torlone kind of just has to race here because he can no longer block. If the Delver flips, then, you know. So he's, even if the race is bad for him or if he doesn't want to engage with it, he has to because Delver of Secrets can turn into a flying creature.
Well, speaking of Delver of Secrets, there's another one. Let's see if this resolves. Counterspell will take care of it. Does Walker have a way to fight back? Daze. Worth a shot. Oh, okay, to replay Young Pyromancer.
Yeah,
Man.
little ritual.
Okay. You keep attacking. I like to keep attacking.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to hold on for 2 turns.
Follow up. Stoneforge is good. Stoneforge is good.
I mean, it's a blocker and it's a Batter Skull. Oh, no Batter Skull.
It's not a Batter Skull.
He's
Maybe the Batter Skull's in hand. Could be in hand.
Yeah, could be in hand.
Force of Will, the draw there for Noah Walker.
Bad news for Noah. He needed to have a removal spell there.
Yes, he did.
Force of Will is a blank. The game's on the table at this point. Everyone has all their pieces on the table.
Attack with everybody. Most people. Okay, there's your trade. All right, so Noah Walker is drawing 2, I believe now at this point, 2 Diabolic Edicts. Puts you to 1. Follow up. Play a land. Pass the turn back. How's Noah Walker running? Pretty good? Might as well slow roll yourself if you can. Not going to do it. Mark Torlone, Tom Medvec, and Franklin Fulks are going to win this game and match over Noah Walker, Dylan Donegan, and Oliver 2. And it's the combination of Jeskai Stoneblade Legacy, Goryo's As for Told in Modern, and Red Black Midrange and Standard that are victorious.